days of 4th of July, people smiling, really reaching, singing for us all. If you want it, really want it, can you dig it? Yes, I can. I've been waiting such a long time for today. Okay, there we are. That's a 4th of July song. I was in here 4th of July, so we did a 4th of July song. Welcome, Unity and Center for Spiritual Living. We hope that you'll sing with us on this one. It's very simple. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. Amen.
Changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me who I am wisdom, I am light, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought, I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me what I am beauty, I am joy, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. Changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. Yes. Thank you.
Alexa Ehrlich and Lauren James. Thank you. Yeah. So maybe we can think the thought of cool. It's a little warm. I'm glad you're all here. Welcome, welcome. I'm Reverend Kimberly Hawkins, Senior Minister here at Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley and Unity Medford. We are an inclusive, progressive spiritual community, and we welcome you no matter where you may happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey. I know there are at least 1 or 2 people here for the first time. If you wouldn't mind raising your hand, we'd just like to give you a little love if you're here for the first time. Where are you? Gia? Jack? Okay. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And thank you all for being here despite the heat. I want to tell you that I posted in our newsletter this week that our air conditioner in the office is on the fritz, and someone in the community donated the whole amount so that we could get a new one, which means we might be able to keep that one that's kind of working sometimes and not maybe put the new one in here. We'll see. A couple of people I want to introduce. Carol Wythe is our practitioner who will be doing our invocation and reading this morning. And Laura Stewart. Laura, can you raise your hand? I don't see you. I don't know where she went. Laura, oh, there she is. The reason she's inconspicuous is that she's holding high watch right now. She's in meditation throughout the whole service, but I wanted to recognize her because she did a beautiful meditation for us this morning. Thank you, Laura. And you've met our musicians, Alexa and Lauren. I'm going to turn it back over to them in just a minute. I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, to put your cell phones in silent mode or airplane mode. And I just want to recognize, I don't always do this, but our broadcast team. So first of all, welcome to anybody watching live or watching a recording. Bill and Connie Miner, Tom Frederick on sound, Corey Rennick and Jason Rummel. Thank you all so much. So time now to take our collective deep breath as we turn it over to our musicians to prepare us for our opening prayer.
When darkness closes in and you can't find your way, the doubts you drag around only seem to say, how can you make it on your own? Remember, you're never alone. Lean into me, I will raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water. Hold your hand when you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. You're longing to be filled with peace that overflows, to hear my quiet voice. Just be still and know, in every sacred silence, I'm only a whisper away. Lean into me, I will raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water. Hold out your hand when you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. With every leap of faith comes the risk you may slip and stumble. Leave what you've known behind, out on the edge you'll find. I won't let you fall. Lean into me, I will raise you up.
when you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. Let go and lean into me.
Let's take a second collective breath, deep and centered, right here and right now. And in this centered breath, this knowingness, this presence, right here and right now, we leave everything that we brought with us at the door and all that we're thinking about for the future, in the future. And we just center ourselves in this beautiful sacred moment that's about to unfold for each and every one of us. We know that the words Reverend Kimberly speaks are divinely guided and flow in such a way that we hear every word that we need to hear. And for the beautiful musicians and their wonderful harmony and words, we just eagerly await more to come. And for the sound technicians that create such a beautiful electronic service for all of those who are watching from their sacred spaces, we just give great thanks, and we know that it is perfect just as it is. And for all the other volunteers, for the ushers, for the kitchen help, for the people that put this service together so that we as a church community can experience the joy and upliftment of the sacred world that we live in. We just give great, great thanks. And please say together with me, and so it is. And you two, we were supposed to wait to do that little clap, but for those who didn't clap, that was incredible, you two, and I say clap. Oh, just beautiful. Okay, my reading for today comes out of the Science of Mind magazine, and it's called Judgment Be Gone. One of the easiest things in the world to do is to look around at other people and the conditions of their lives and make them wrong. Judging is an observation made with an energy of something or someone being wrong, bad, inappropriate, horrible. It's a harmful energy because it is negative and toxic. The person who harms the most is the one doing the judging, though judgment has ruined many relationships. What is fascinating is that it never works in terms of creating more peace between people. It never works as a tool for us to feel good about ourselves. Yet many of us are tempted to keep doing it over and over. We actually might trick ourselves into believing that if we make a judgmental comment on social media site, another person will change their ways. Yeah. Or if we judge our kids for what they're up to, that will cause them to stop. Or if we judge ourselves harshly enough, we can change. Yet all judgment does is put a wedge between us and our truest nature, and between us and other humans. Conversely, there is discernment. It is the ability to give input or feedback about a situation without charged negative feelings, to begin a dialogue or effect change that supports all involved, or establish a clear boundary. The key is motivation within us, A motivation to wound, hurt, shame, or make wrong is judgment. A motivation to create more harmony may be discerning. Be discerning.
Surrender, let it go. Surrender, let it all go. All the fears and the doubts, all the pain, all the wounds, feelings of being alone. Surrender, let it go. Surrender, let it go. Surrender, let it all go. All the shame and the guilt, all the tears, all the blame, feelings of being outside. Surrender, let it go. Don't you know God is here? 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 Let it all go. Surrender, let it go. Surrender, let it all go. All the thoughts of disease, all the lies, all the wounds, feelings of being alone. Surrender, let it go. Don't you know God is here? 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 Let it all go. Open your heart, invite in the light. Open your mind, surrender. Open your heart, invite in the light. Open your mind, surrender. Surrender. Don't you know God is here? 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 Let it go.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, is that a voice of an angel or what? Wow. These two have been absent for a while because Lauren was traveling, seeing grandchildren and other stuff, and Alexa was thereby having a well-deserved break from college classes, but it is so good to have you two back. And I was telling them Surrender by, actually, I think it's called Let It Go by Cynthia James. It's one of my all-time favorite songs, and I guess it was last week that was in my head, and I never thought to request it, but One Mind, and the other one by Gary Lynn Floyd. Oh, wow. Almost time to go home, right? Gorgeous. Thank you both. So I want to talk this morning about making a U-turn. When I first came here to Oregon, like many of you that may have moved from other states, when I was studying to take my driver's test for my license, I was surprised to learn, I bet Bruce and Susan from Florida the same thing, that you can't make a U-turn in this state unless it says you can. Most states are the opposite, right? It's very different. It took some getting used to. And we need to make U-turns often. At least I do. You miss a turn, you make a wrong turn. Sometimes the way our roads and streets are set up to get from point A to point B, somewhere along the line, getting to the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library is like that. Sometimes you just have to make a U-turn. Every day. Yeah. So just like we need to make a U-turn, well, here's the other thing. If you use a navigation system, Siri will come on, right, and say, make a U-turn. As soon as possible, make a U-turn. And in life, unfortunately, we don't have a Siri. I'm going to talk about a different kind of U-turn spelled Y-O-U. And what it is, it kind of like what the songs have been implying. Instead of looking out there in judgment and criticism and anger at situations or people, it's making a 180-degree turn in the opposite direction and taking a look at our inner landscape. Like, what's going on with me that I can get so upset, right? So that's the U-turn I want to talk about. And unfortunately, there is no Siri. Too bad there isn't, who would say, Kimberly, time to make a U-turn. But the good news is we are always free. There's no law saying we can't at this intersection in life or at this relationship or at this situation. There's always the freedom for us to make that U-turn and look within. Thank goodness. In our book of the month, Mary O'Malley, the book is called What's in the Way is the Way, tells a beautiful story to illustrate this fact that I'm about to state. When we get supercharged upset about something, it's almost always never about that particular person or that particular situation. It's our old unhealed hurts coming up, wanting to be healed, right? So here's an example. Mary O'Malley had a chiropractic appointment, and usually she would set aside 30 minutes, and even though she did that in 15 minutes, she was usually in and out. This particular morning, she said she woke up not feeling really in a good mood and went, and she was sitting there in the waiting room for 20 minutes and still wasn't called in. She was in a hurry. Someone else walked in, a new patient, signed in and got called back to see the doctor before she did. So she was upset, went up to the window and asked what was going on and was angry, and the receptionist said, I'll go back and check. So the receptionist went back to see the doctor, and it seemed like she was taking forever. She finally came back and said, we made a mistake. And Mary said, well, now I've been waiting 30 minutes, and I have a tight schedule. And the woman said, there's nothing I can do. And at that point, Mary kind of had steam coming out of her ears. And she went through all the things that sometimes we go through, things like, I'm going to talk to the boss and complain, this is inexcusable, my rights, bada, my time's important. And then she realized, because she was familiar with the U-turn, that she just needed to take a breath, be aware of what was going on. At this point, ever get this way? Her heart was pounding, she had a knot in her stomach, and she just took a breath and decided to make that U-turn. Well, then, what she shares in the book is her history that made this particular situation very upsetting for her. Mary lived with her father for the first 12 years of her life, and he had wanted a boy. So he virtually ignored her. Didn't honor her, didn't, give her that love and affection and that feeling that she was worthwhile. She also roomed with her older sister, who Mary said had this thing about being the best and winning. So the sister was constantly winning at whatever and putting Mary down, ignoring her, and so on. So she had strong buttons about being ignored, not being acknowledged, not being respected. And that's what was coming up for her at the chiropractor's office that day. And I think, this is kind of what goes on for all of us, does it not? O'Malley says we need to become tightness detectives. So when we feel that physical stuff coming up, for me, it's my neck and shoulders get tight, my solar plexus can tighten up, the pounding heart, all those, when anger comes up, to notice and then just start to ask, what's going on here? Because the reality is, the person who upsets us the most, the person who makes us the most uncomfortable, has the potential to be our biggest teacher and the biggest help or nudge to do our own healing, yes? It's not the other person usually. And when people do things to us that are thoughtless or angry or judgmental, usually it doesn't have anything to do with us either. It's their stuff coming out at us. So I think the reality is when we resist those uncomfortable feelings, the pain turns into suffering. And we don't go into a place of peace, God knows, right? We stay bound up. There's a short little poem, if you will, in the book that I love, and I posted it on our newsletter this week. It goes like this: life is set up to bring up what has been bound up, so it can open up to be freed up, so you can show up for life. I'm going to read that one more time. Life is set up to bring up what has been bound up, so it can open up to be freed up, so you can show up for life. Show up for life as it is right now in all of its goodness and its beauty, and not that bound up feeling inside in your heart and your solar plexus and so on. Another thing we can do aside from breathing is smile. It's amazing in meditation sometimes, or in life, what happens if we just try to put a little smile and relax and take some perspective on a situation. Yeah. And this can happen with little things and with big things. I had a reminder that the yin-yang symbol, that paisley symbol, the black, whatever you call it, has a little white dot in it. Is it up there? Thank you, Jordan. There it is. The black paisley thingy has a white dot in it. The white section has a black dot in it. And it's kind of a reminder that almost no situation is either all good or all bad. They're mixed in. And when we can have that perspective, I think that it helps us. The name of the book, again, is What's in the Way is the Way. The very thing we think we don't like, we'd like to eliminate, or bothers us, is the way to our own healing if we are willing to feel the feelings. O'Malley says those uncomfortable experiences and relationships are a doorway into a more spacious place. In foundations class, I've taught for years that our breakdowns always lead to a breakthrough. And the bigger the breakdown, the bigger usually the breakthrough that is going to happen. Now, instead of feeling our feelings and doing that U-turn and turning within, a lot of times what we do is give in to compulsions so we don't have to feel our feelings. Overeating, drinking too much, overworking, over-shopping, which happens to be one of my addictions. And that never helps, right? It never takes away the feelings. It makes us more uneasy. It interrupts our peace even more. We need to shine the light inside. What's going on? Let's take a look. Let's be willing to surrender, to let it go. Oh my goodness. So sometimes, like I said, it's little things. I was in the Applegate Valley over the weekend for the Lavender Farm tour. So fun. And there was one home in the Applegate that had a big sign in the front yard, F. Biden. And I got to tell you, I kind of got my heart rate up on that one. I mean, he is our president, no matter what your political leanings are. That really wasn't very kind. And then the more I realized that I was, reacting, I realized, well, I'm doing the same thing. I am doing the same thing this person is doing. I need to let it go. Another day this week, I was driving in my car and I passed a young man with a bumper sticker with something that I totally don't believe. And I found myself going into all these assumptions, judgments about him. He must be the do. And I don't know. I don't know that any of that is true. I don't know why he had that bumper sticker on. So it's been interesting this week trying to live the talk, trying to make the U-turn. I had a beautiful, beautiful suggestion from an agape-trained practitioner minister named Jennifer Hadley. I heard her on a podcast. She has been a student of the Course in Miracles for many, many years. And she, through the Course in Miracles, adopted this practice, very, very simple. Whenever she went to say something, do something, or even when she had a thought, she asked herself this very simple question. Is it loving or is it unloving? So when you go to eat something, for me, if I'm upset at the end of the day, chips and crackers call my name, So nothing wrong with a few, right? But when you're going to go to binge on something or eat something that isn't really healthy, is it loving or unloving to my holy body temple? When I'm going to say something, is it loving or unloving? Even when I think something. Now, the thing is, we often have thoughts that come unbidden. It's human, and it's okay. But it's what we do with the thoughts, and can we make a U-turn with that thought? So if I'm really angry and judging somebody, can I turn it around to something that is more compassionate, more loving? I had the image, as I was working on my talk this week, of two faucets. You know those sinks that have a hot and a cold? Two faucets. And one faucet is cold, one is hot. And I thought, it's kind of like the thoughts that come through our heads. Sometimes we can't quite turn that control off all the way. Thoughts come up, but we have this other faucet over here, which is compassion, understanding, curiosity, communication, gratitude. And if we can keep turning that on, we're bathed in a light that is lighter than all that nasty, nasty judgment, which really doesn't bring us peace, correct? Not at all. So what we say, when David Roth, how many of you remember the concert we had many years ago with David Roth, the folk singer, a few of you? He had this beautiful song about the three things we can ask before we say something to somebody. Is it necessary, true, or kind? And it's really all of the above. If we can say that it's necessary and true and kind, great. If not, maybe we should not say it. Another little, I think, beautiful tidbit. Yeah. So while I'm working on this topic this week, I was reminded of the 4 agreements. Kathy Green, our board president, has been a student of Don Miguel Ruiz, and I know some of you have signed up for is it his son that's doing anyway, his son is doing something with CSL this week. So the 4 agreements, again, I think emphasize the same things I'm talking about. The first agreement, be impeccable with your word. In other words, don't gossip. Don't say mean things about others or about yourself. We got to watch our self-talk as well as our talk about others. Speak with integrity, speak truth and love. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Same darn thing, right? He writes, Nothing others do is because of you. Nothing. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. So when we become immune to what other people think, we keep our peace. We don't suffer. We don't react. And it goes both ways, of course. When I want to react, it doesn't have anything or very little usually to do with the person I think I'm mad at. It's my old stuff coming up. Agreement number 3, you know what that is? Don't make assumptions like I started to do with the young man with the bumper sticker. Instead, we can get curious. We can ask questions. We can try to have communication so that we're not writing somebody off, even the guy with the F Biden sign. I mean, if I sat down with him or her, we'd probably find that we have a lot in common as human beings. Don't make assumptions. And finally, always do your best. And I love that Don Miguel Ruiz admits that our best can vary from time to time. If I'm exhausted, tired, stressed, my best might look a little different from when I'm centered and relaxed and poised, right? But do my best. And again, I'm never going to maybe completely turn off that faucet that comes into my head with thoughts that are judgmental or angry, but I can do my best to turn on the faucet that lets in the gratitude, the compassion, the appreciation, the remembrance that we are one. Our founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, wrote this: "It is not within your province or mine to condemn or judge another person. Our attitude toward our fellow human beings should not be to condemn or judge harshly, but to see the perfect idea resident in them. No matter how grievous the mistake, recognizing that if they knew better, they would do better. And that's true for us too. If I knew better, I'd do better. Let's have a little bit of compassion." Finally, thinking about A Course in Miracles, one of the most common themes is about forgiveness. And forgiveness leads, in the Course in Miracles language, to salvation. Now, this doesn't mean saved from hell. This means that we can live in peace here. Heaven can be here right now. Even Ernest Holmes said that. We believe that heaven is within us, and we experience it to the degree we become conscious of it. So when we can learn to forgive, salvation means we reconnect with that knowing that God is here, that knowing that we are one with our Maker and with each other, and nothing can change that. And one last thought about this, not taking things personally. Remember, as much as our dander can get up, and it does because somebody insulted us or dissed us or left us sitting in the waiting room when it was our turn and it's unfair, no one and nothing can really harm me, the eternal spiritual whole essence of my higher self cannot be harmed in any way. A good thing to remember. So I'm going to just invite each of us this week to practice the U-turn, 180-degree about face, to look here when I get upset, to zip the lip if it isn't necessary, true, and kind, to ask ourselves when I want to do something, or when I want to say something, or when I think something, is it loving or is it unloving? Because the truth for each of us is that we want to be, and God wants us to be. We were designed to be here, to share, to express love. And again, when someone else is not doing that, it's an invitation, if we're upset, to do our own healing and to be compassionate and to understand that they're suffering or they wouldn't be doing that. Is it loving or unloving? Let's go into prayer. So just remembering, right now, right here, God is here. We never walk alone. But when I say God is here, I mean that spirit of love, of truth, of freedom, of harmony, of peace, It's here as me. It's here as you. It's here as each person, no matter what their bumper sticker says, no matter what their yard sign says. We are each individual incarnations of divine love. We are here to know our oneness, to share that love, and to heal any old hurts. God is all there is. We cannot be harmed in a spiritual, eternal sense. Nothing can diminish the wholeness, the love, the beauty, the lovability that each of us is. That's true for everyone on the planet. Everyone. So in the middle of my prayer, I'm going to invite our practitioners and ministers in the room to stand up to anchor these truths for us. I keep forgetting to do that. Will you stand? Ministers and practitioners, stand with me to anchor this truth. Practitioners are here to remind us of the truth of who we are when we lose our way. They're here to help us take that U-turn and unravel the knots that make us want to react. I know that we always have that choice. There is no law at any intersection in life that says, I cannot make that U-turn and look within and get insight and forgive and let go and be at peace. So I'm knowing for each one of this week, we are supported should we choose to make this U-turn, to ask the question of whether something's loving or not. And before we end this prayer, I invite you to bring to mind anyone in your life, including yourself, that could use a prayer for peace, for wholeness, for good. Just bring them to mind and we'll unfold them into this prayer. And you might say the name to yourself, or if you like, speak the name aloud into this room. Kathy? Michael? Knowing that we enfold everyone whose names is on our heart, we unfold the world right now, the earth itself. We bless people who are worshiping this morning in a temple, in an ashram, on a yoga mat, in a mosque. Knowing there's one God, many paths, we are one. So in gratitude to know this, in gratitude for this blessed community, for everyone who helps make this a place of recognizing the truth for each other, I release this word into the heart of the divine, knowing this prayer is heard, it is answered, and I invite you to stay with me, and so it is. Amen.
This is an old Shaker hymn from 1848. And the chorus says, when true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight. So by turning, we come round right. So that is inward, but they were Shakers. So that meant the dancing, the turning, and turning, we come round right.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free. 'Tis the gift to come down where you are to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by
Thank you.
And I just want to say there is a tradition to where if you have a quarrel with somebody, it's a tribe. If you quarrel with them, first you go to the circle and you dance together. You dance together first and get in union with others. So.
I love that, Lauren. Thank you. All right, I'm going to invite our ushers, Virginia and what's her name that I live with, Vivian, to come forward. Senior moment. Time now for our tithes and offerings. And just a big thank you to everyone who continues to support our joint community, Medford, Unity, and CSL Rogue Valley. We absolutely know that it is a sacred practice to share a portion of our good with the places where we're spiritually fed. So if you would repeat our affirmation after me, please. Graciously, I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And here we go. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.
Yeah. Thank you. A few announcements. Let's see. Unity's Prayer Circle meets every Tuesday, and this week is no exception, 10:30 in Bosworth Hall, followed by Tai Chi at 11:30. Our longtime partner, Northwest Seasonal Workers Association, is having their annual fundraiser luau from 4 to 6 p.m. on July 29th, which is what? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm goofy. I'm intertwining. I'm sorry. Yes, I knew it was coming up soon. It's this coming Saturday, Virginia. Yes, this coming Saturday, from 6 to 8 in Central Point. And there are tickets and information on a flyer and information in Bosworth Hall on the table. See Virginia if you have any questions. Raise your hand, Virginia. Okay. $10 a person, $20 for a family or a group. Good cause to support. Now, what I meant to say, our CSL RV wine tasting tapas fundraiser is happening on the 29th of July. That's from 4 to 6 p.m. at the home of Liz Cravens. It's limited to 30 people. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can sign up in the social hall, and we are asking you that you pay for your ticket in advance because it is a fundraiser, and if, you know, we need to know who's going to be there and who's not. So see one of us if you have any questions about that. You can sign up for our weekly e-newsletter also in the social hall. There's still time to sign up to be volunteer for the Ashland build. It has the Habitat for Humanity. It's had a few glitches, but I understand it is still going forward. We don't know the exact date yet, so we'll take the first 10 people on that list who can do it when we know an actual date. We'll be able to participate, which is just glorious. we are putting together an ambassador team. We have so many new people coming, and I can't always get to new people after service. So we used to have ambassadors. Matt Belzano was a big part of that, who would stand at the back and welcome new people as they come in and talk with new people afterwards and connect them to information. So if you're interested, please sign up or see me. We'd love to get that going again. It's really important. Next Sunday, we have a very special guest speaker, Reverend Donna Laughlin, who is a unity minister coming to us from Florida. I believe Bruce and Susan's former minister. Is that right, you guys? Yeah. So she'll be here, and it's just going to be sweet. We have our choir and joint music, and it will be lovely. So be sure to be here if you can. We invite you to stay for coffee and snacks afterwards. I'm going to invite our practitioners and ministers to come forward. A reminder that they are available after service for what we call a 5-minute miracle. So don't leave here. If there's something heavy on your heart concerning your life or someone you care about, they'll sit with you and do a spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer with you. Before we go to our closing song, I'm going to do a benediction because I left something out of my talk that I think is very important. When I don't check my notes, that happens. Oh well. On this subject of making judgments and doing a U-turn, Jesus had some beautiful things to say in Matthew 5. He said this, "I say to you that everyone who's angry with his brother shall be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother shall be liable, and whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be liable to the hell of fire." All right. In metaphysical terms, this does not mean that God's going to punish you and send you down there, right? But the hell of fire means what I've talked about. When we judge another, speak angry against another, we're speaking angry against ourselves. We're keeping us separate from God and our brothers and sisters, and we end up in hell instead of heaven. He further said this, "So if you're offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled with your brother, and then come offer your gift." So in other words, when we come here to the altar to celebrate the divine, to know that we are part of the divine, that we're all part of each other, if we have a relationship hanging out there that's in turmoil and a brother has something against us or a sister, we need to go take care of that. I think nobody practiced this more diligently than 12 steppers. You know, you make amends. So it's just a reminder to all of us. It's fine to come in here and celebrate, but let's make sure that we clean up what's going on out there that doesn't bespeak oneness. We are one. We are brothers and sisters. All right, bless y'all. Have a great week. Stay cool. We're going to turn it back over to our musicians.